So, Lalit, every year December, we do this thing called an impact report, where we sort of
Mhm.
analyze how clients who have been with us more than 6 months, how their performance has
Mhm.
been, what from us as an agency, what more we can do. So just to give you a context, last compared to last year, this year we've closed our clients in total have closed approximately projects worth of 58, 57 CR this year. So as a
Mhm.
result, compared to last year, average lead costs have dropped by 30%. So
Mhm.
just to get started, we started working almost in March, April of this year. So could you give a
Correct.
little bit more context because you are someone who already has a decent startup experience. Why would
Right.
you first of all choose a third party agency instead of building an in-house marketing team?
See, initially we had that plan of, building an in-house marketing agency at the end of the day, but we felt it would be a little more comfortable for us to go to the third-party services initially because of primarily being the number of resources that you'll have to bring into the table and, train them, get them up to speed, and, that itself is a time-taking process of 4 to 5 months at least. But agencies, since they are already specifically catering to an X kind of services, thought it would be more beneficial to go ahead initially with respective agencies itself, and then probably think of it of building your own team at a later date in case things are not working out. See, it's always subjective, right? Sometimes you find things that are working out for you, and sometimes you find things that are really not working out for you.
Right.
And in fact, we've had this conversation before also, where essentially, like, we tried a lot of things initially, but then
Right.
eventually things, started getting stabilized, and we found the right resources, we found the right people to do the job. So, when things are going smooth, so let it continue.
Generally, the concern that comes up with is people who are looking to hire someone like Values. First of all,
Mhm.
is if the sales support is not that great or the sales systems are not in place, generally people are not able to see that immediate ROI. So usually it
Yeah,
takes almost 1 to 2 to 3 months to get in the hang of how to call the leads up, how to schedule
true.
meetings, how to do the closing. But because you already had a decent sales background, I think for MTC the results were pretty immediate. I think since the first two
Yeah.
three weeks we started working.
Yeah, I
Right.
think we started getting our results in the first 2 weeks, third week itself. Yeah, driving meetings, closing conversations. I think that happened very early. The only problem that we had was basically the leads coming in, and once that started flowing in, I think it just took off.
So for anyone who is someone who's looking to build a studio, and let's say someone who has a year worth of experience freelancing here or there, if they wanted to get started and build their own studio and get that influx of a few projects per month, how would you narrate their pathway should be?
See, initially it is important that there are two things that you need to sort out. One would be your product and your offering. See, primarily you need to target what sort of market audience that you're basically going to bring to the table. That is based on what kind of product that you're, choosing. Some people do offer an extremely premium product. Some people are placed in the mid-market segment. Some people more or less want to play that volume game at the end of the day,
Right.
right? So it is very important primarily to know where you're placed at. What is, the correct market capability. The second thing is in terms of your reach, right?
Right.
Have a fixed budget of what you want to generate. Initially you will have to find a proper people who can do get certain job done for you, but if you have someone who will do it for you, onboard them immediately, start working out. See, initially, if you realize, Yukul, we had a meeting almost every week. Now we
Right.
hardly have a meeting, right? So
Yeah.
it's just only a weekly report that is being shared, and we are pretty much aligned with what it is.
Right.
The second thing is, it's always important to convey your feedback of what type of clients are you getting, and how do you
Right.
kind of like improve it and all that. Then once your client, everything is sorted, your marketing and your you know mainly your marketing MQL is basically sorted out. Next comes your drive, through which basically how capable are you to do basically a sale and close a client. See, at the end of the day, you are selling a value to a customer at the end of the day, right?
Correct.
So how you sell is one thing that is very, very important.
Hmm.
What are you trying to bring to the table? How are you making their life better? And why should
Right.
they go with you? These are the three major differentiating factors that you have to look into before, and ensure that you have a properly established sales pitch. Once you
Correct.
have that, I think your closures become much more easier, right?
Hmm.
And the second point is it's all timely communication at the end of the day, because see, when you're committing to a particular SLA, I think it's important that you adhere to that SLA and you ensure that you deliver the product accordingly within that given stipulated time frame.
So I have two follow-up questions on this. First
Hmm.
is like you talked about, you need to first of all pinpoint what kind of clientele you want to go about. With MTC, I
Yeah.
remember we have closed sub 20 lakh projects as well, and higher ticket projects between 60 to 70 lakhs as well. So
Yeah.
from there,
Yeah.
as a company, how do you decide that, okay, now do I want to go towards more of these high ticket projects or more of these premium sort of luxury projects, entry level luxury projects?
See, to answer your question, it has to always be a balance, right?
Hmm.
This mid-range segment, initially your 20 lakhs, 30 lakhs is all about, closing those projects for ensuring that your operational expenses are basically covered.
Right.
The time taken to close a 20 lakh project will be typically around a month, 2 months and a
Right.
half. Now, if you look at a higher value project like a 50 or 60 lakh project, sometimes it might go up to 2 months, sometimes it might go up to 3 months.
Right.
So relying only on that 50, 60 lakh segment will never do you any good. It is
Correct.
always important to have that mixed balance of lower budget clients to close faster so that your operational expenses are covered on a regular basis. At the
Right.
same time, target your premium luxury segment because that is where you're going to make most of the money.
Hmm.
Right. So these are two things that, I would advise people to go about it that way. Always having
Got
that
it.
mixed blend between, probably about 3 to 4 20 lakh projects and then target about 3 to 4 big
Higher
premium
ticket
projects.
projects. I mean, the first major constraint anyone has is reaching out to these sorts of projects, which almost most of the times we take care of. The next bigger problem that I see people facing is they just don't know how to call up these leads, how to schedule meetings. So, for someone who is a pretty much rookie at all of this, what would you recommend or suggest? How should you go about doing all of these tasks? Not rather doing all of these stuff, how to first of all prepare for these things. Because most people who launch an interior design studio, an architecture studio, or in general design consultancy, these people are great at what they do. But all these things, sales and
Yeah.
marketing, is pretty foreign for them. So, how would you
Mhm.
suggest someone in this space to actually transition to a more holistic business owner than just being a designer?
See, there are two things. One, like I mentioned in my previous this thing question itself, it is important to know how are you different from others. What is that you're doing differently. So
Right.
in terms of your design and all that, that is different. Every designer is different at the end of the day. They
Right.
have their own unique selling proposition.
True.
But to be very honest, it's important about what kind of product are you delivering. Like how are you different? Are you outsourcing? What is your team's capability and things like that. And secondly, it is important for you to do your own shadow practice. Like whenever you want to do a sale or something, get in front of the mirror and
Right.
try to look at yourself, because if you are able to sell to yourself about a particular any product or service, you can sell it to anyone,
Right.
right? Because
100%.
you know how you are when you're talking face to face and looking at yourself in front of a mirror or something like that.
Correct.
You kind of know exactly, am I convinced? And most of the time, 90% of the time, there'll always be an improvement. So
Correct.
once you get the confidence of basically trying to be convincing to your own self as to whether I'm offering is correct or not, my way of conversation is correct or not, based on that, you slowly develop that confidence to sell. You
Right.
start getting, used to these confidences. Used to these conversations when you have difficult conversations with your clients. You'll be a little more calm and composed in terms of handling
True.
that particular situation. And once that is done, then I think your execution and all. I think most of your designers basically do it in a proper way itself, because at the end of the day, it's all
Right.
about management. Yeah. But
Got it.
getting that initial, conversation going and ensuring you kind of like instill that confidence in a particular client that if I go with this person, I'm getting my value for money.
Right.
for sure. That typically a lot of people get it wrong in the first few meetings, to be very honest, and
Right.
that's why they end up losing most of their clients.
Right. Another thing that I personally feel is that people are someone who's just getting started is operating from a scarcity mindset, and almost end up saying yes to everything, and as a result, they are doing a turnkey project, and after 3 months, they realize we have to spend money from our own pocket to actually complete this project.
Yeah, yeah.
So
True. See,
yeah,
quotation and budgeting is something that you will have to, be very, very clear about it and have a firm ground, because what the client will ask is almost triple to four times the budget that they
right,
have. Right. So that is a common industry problem.
right,
So it depends on it's important to get the product right. He, this is what I can give you in this budget. Right.
right,
Because if you don't recall your conversations, you end up spending most of the money. And this is
right,
something that a lot of people in the industry do. They say yes
right.
to everything. It's okay to say no, but
Yeah.
it depends on how you want to convey that no. Most of the clients don't like hearing a no, but the way it is conveyed makes a lot of difference. They're open to it. To be very
Right.
honest, I've said no for a lot of things. Right. For example, some of my clients ask me for any internal civil modifications. I tell them I don't want to do it. First
Yeah.
thing, I don't want to spoil any kind of an existing structure, because I don't know how old the building is, how old the
Right.
houses are. What can go right, what can go wrong. I don't know their building permissions.
Right.
99.9% of the time, I avoid the work.
Right.
But the way I say it in such a way that, I say, is the builder going to give us permission to do, these modifications? Is that a structurally viable solution? Why don't you, consult some kind of person? And if, he says everything is okay, everything is
Right.
clearable, then let's do some analysis, let's do some research, and then let's think about it. But for now, this is not something that I would like to include in the scope of work. So it is not important that you say yes to everything that the client asks for at the end.
True. No, yeah, I think most people feel like if we say no, the prospect might be offended. But in a way, if you're actually ethically saying no to something which is out of your scope of work, which you don't know what you're getting your hands into, I think at that time, if you say yes to that, you're almost doing a disservice to the client, which 2, 3, 4 months later will be coming on to you.
So
Right.
how simply you put it to them, saying that this is what it is, and this is the reason why I'm telling you that certain things don't work out. Always see, whenever you say a no, give a reason as to why. Why are you saying this? From my perspective, this is what I'm thinking. See, instead of getting this done, why don't you try this?
Right.
Give them a couple of options. That's a better way for them to, at least absorb what this guy is saying.
Right. No, 100%. That makes total sense. And yeah, again, something I feel that almost is coming naturally to you. I mean, I've been also doing this consulting calls for almost 2 years now. Is that when we sort of approach things from a professional angle, almost instead of building that, closing the client with a relationship building perspective. These things come much more easier. Generally, people sort of start building that initial friendly relationship. So, which first of all disturbs that professionality in that conversation, and that sort of opens the room for a lot of random favors as well, which you as a company also wouldn't want to do.
Favors and stuff,
Yeah, okay, just get this done or that done, which is definitely not in the scope of work. So, right, I mean, pretty much I've gotten answer to most of my questions. So, yeah, Lalit, according to you, MTC is, I think it will be an year old next year.
We are already a year old.
Yeah. So almost a year, 12, more than 12 months old company. Now, what does 2026 goals look like for you from a perspective that, okay, foundationally, operational wise, most things are sorted, I believe. Marketing and sales wise processes are set up. How do you now look at scaling the company?
See, right now for 2026, we have three major things on our plate. See, I understand that we have generated leads as of now, and we have done things in a different way. But one thing that we did not really focus upon probably last year was the brand building part. It is
Correct.
important that you kind of have regular posts, regular creatives basically installed in your socials. That
Right.
instills better confidence, and
Right.
kind of whatever side executed pictures are there, whatever unique designs that we have done. I think it's important that we kind of like bring it out in the open, probably put it up in our website or GMB page and all this.
100%.
It's proper brand building, because initially we started off as a zero value company, and
Right.
our journey towards hitting that 1 crore mark was different. Then our journey towards hitting that 10 crore revenue was different.
Right.
Then our journey towards hitting that 25 crore was different. Now,
Right.
here lies the actual scaling and growth part, where essentially you're scaling from a 25 crore company to a 100 crore company.
Right.
Right. So if you look at it in that way, there are primary thing is establishing the brand value,
Right.
establishing a name for yourself in the market is one of the
Right.
most important things that needs to be done. Of course, operationally there'll be minor things since you're scaling to that level. There'll be new
Right.
challenges that you will face, which we're pretty open and ready for it.
Right.
And yeah, let's see how things basically take us.
Yeah.
As of now, we are mainly focused on our brand. Right now, we are focused on the growth part, where we need to start expanding our team, get some policies in, and
Right.
get some clarity in how to diversify the sales marketing as one segment, how
Right.
to diversify the design as one segment, and operations as one segment. Right now,
Right.
we have people cross-functionally reporting to
Yeah.
different people. But it's about time that you start streamlining these processes to ensure a smooth and steady education and execution. Sorry.
Right. I mean, that reminds me that we have been bugging your team for getting the client testimonial so that we can use it for building more social proof in our ads as well.
Yeah. I think it's important that we start focusing from now on more of the executed part. Showing visualizations and better creatives. So for that, I think we should. I probably would want a photographer or someone to go get these things done. A photographer and videographer. Yeah. So any recommendations? Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Let me know.
Would definitely, we'll pass on the better contacts in Hyderabad that we have. As just signing off note, Lalit, if you had to recommend Valiuxe to someone, first of all, would you recommend? If you would, why would that reason be?
See, from a business standpoint, yes, definitely I would recommend Valiuxe to anybody who is on the lookout for it. And in fact, I think we had these discussions before where
Correct.
certain people did approach me for mapping, and definitely I'd love to put in a great word to all of you guys, because you've done a really, really fantastic job for me. Because at the end of the day, our lead generation is pretty much sorted. We generate about close to, I think in the reports we have seen about 150 to 200 leads from your end, right? This is only from one particular platform that we are generating. Then we have our walk-ins, then we have our offline marketing as well.
100%.
Different types of channels, but our 90%, if I would say, marketing part and all that is basically handled. Online presence is handled by you guys in terms of the lead generation part. Right. So yeah, it's been a great journey with you guys there, and I'm pretty happy actually. I have had a fantastic run with you guys, and
Yeah, I think pretty much I had my quickest closing with you guys pretty much when you and I had a conversation. And let's say in general, if a second co-founder is involved or an investor is involved or another MD is involved, it usually takes like 3-4 more meetings with them. Pretty much, I think you and I have a 30-minute discussion, and you were like, I just want you to have a word with Samson, the co-founder, as well.
Yeah.
And pretty much another 20 minutes, Samson was on the call. We had a decent discussion of the deliverables, and that's it. From there, we're here.
yeah.
Awesome, man.
It's straightforward, right? Like I was pretty convinced with what I would exactly want, and right now also I'm pretty convinced with what I'm getting. But yeah, in terms of the posting part, I think we'll have to just work that part out.
100%. I'll pass on that word to Varag and team as well.
Do the creatives and postings and all that. Yeah.
Perfect. Yes, pretty much, Lalit. I'm done with my questions. If you have any suggestions, questions, or anything you would advise us as you can say a senior or someone who has been in the startup space way longer than us, more than happy for all the feedback and suggestions.
Yeah, I'll probably give that probably in an offline call. I think that will be great.
100%.
But yeah, anytime you want to reach out to me for anything, I'm always there to help you guys out there.
Perfect,
And
Lalit.
vice versa.
Perfect, perfect, 100%. I'll just get all the feedback regarding the social media and other branding aspects forwarded to our team. And yeah, looking forward to an even more fruitful 2026.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you. Have a great day. Bye.
You have a great day. Bye bye. Take care.